Bosnia.
Oh, okay. I thought that was China.
No, they've already stopped it. They stopped it 6 months ago. Though they probably got some still hiding in the mine.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Chicago Junction from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Wednesday, October the 9th, year 2024. Today, the panel will be talking about railroads and model railroads. And now, here is our announcer, Mr. Bryan. Good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening, John. How are you today?
Oh, just wonderful.
I like the new beginning. And welcome to...
Forgot already, huh?
No. Chicago Junction. And yes, we're going to go through the wonderful world of trains, both real and historic, and anything else we can make up along the way, which won't be hard.
Nope.
And my name is Brian Flew. I am a rail fan. I'm taking my lead from some of the people I've worked with, and I've got involved in more stuff. And we're coming up to Halloween, so another night to be careful. Make sure a lot of the kids that are walking around go trick-or-treating. They got a little flasher on them, so you can identify them. And you know, have prayers for the engineer. All right. I'm an O-gauge modeler. I'm an outdoor modeler. And we'll get words in on them.
And this is Doug Kanyuk. I'm a longtime rail fan, model railroader and N scale, officer in the Railroad and Short Lines Club of Chicago, which, by the way, we meet on the third Friday of every month at Union Station. And you can go out to the website, which is rscc.dhke.com. And I'm also adjunct professor at Wilbur Wright College. But love trains. Go out there every day and look at them and plan all my trips that take me along railroad tracks. Drives the wife nuts at times. And she goes, you always take me through the lovely places, because most of the times we're going through industrial sections just to look at some tracks.
Well, then you want to go through the mountains? Head to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That way you can go see the East Broad Top.
Yep. So today we're going to wrap up. We'll talk a little bit about, it's Christmas coming up. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about model railroads and some of the sizes that are out there as a filler.
Mm-hmm.
And a disclaimer, none of us get paid or work for Menards, but Menards just announced a whole bunch of new stuff again. And it looked kind of cool when it's me to go maybe dump N scale and go back to O scale.
Yeah, they got some diesel switchers they're putting out this time.
Yep, Milwaukee Road F3s.
They're looking like, though, they might be stretching it a bit.
Well, I mean, this is one of those that you decide, do you buy a toy train, or do you buy a model railroad, or do you buy something in between? And that's the tough part.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want me to go ahead with the...
Oh, yeah, let's give some good news.
Got some good ones here. Anodynamic, a diesel engine performance solutions provider in Carthage, Missouri, achieved a milestone in environmental stewardship in the rail industry now that Omnitrax has successfully implemented North America's first plasma airjet system tailored for locomotives. The pilot program is part of Anodynamic's new initiative to elevate rail fleet performance. According to Anodynamic press release, the company is a distributor of the plasma airjet system, Aerodynamics employs the patented Pure Purple Tech developed by Clock Technologies within the engine component system to reduce particulate emissions and enhance fuel efficiency. And that's all the thing said. So I went and looked the company up, and Plasma Airjet is an onboard device that installs directly to the air intake of the locomotive. Okay, so it's sort of like turbocharging, only, okay. And what it achieves is burns the fuel better and saves money at the pump. Yeah, I can see the diesel. Oh, look at it, it's at the mobile station. Clean exhaust dynamically, cuts down wear and tear on the engine soot, reduces diesel particulates, filter clogging, and the need for frequent regenerating cycles, delivers steady, consistent exhaust systems and engine performance, and also increases power and torque. Designed to go on the older engines, to bring them up to, what, Tier 2 or Tier 3? Mm-hmm. That's what it's on. They had a picture of the device. It looks just what it looks like, a jet engine. So it's kind of neat. So it's kind of like, well, this is good idea. Here's one. MTA in New York opens coffee shops to attract more Long Island Railroad riders. New York's Metropolitan Transit Authority has introduced joint coffee shops and convenience stores at 3 Long Island Railroad stations, an amenity intended to attract more commuters to public transportation. Located within Manhasset, Port Washington, and Lynbrook stations, the stores will be operated by JPA Consolidated and carry a selection of beverages and grab-and-go treats and snacks. Long Islanders lead busy lives and have a spot to grab their morning coffee or a snack to start their journey to work or school is an added benefit to riding the Long Island Railroad every day. JPA calls the shops retail in motion with the goals of creating economic resilience and hiring local staff to support. Hence my question, is food allowed on Metro trains? After reading this.
Yeah, I know. Somebody asked me that today.
So it's, and I'm sure it is. You know, CTA gets bent out of shape because you're not supposed to have food or drink on there. And you get on any L car or bus and there's food and junk all over the place. So it's not rigidly enforced. So, but that was interesting that they're going to do that. That's sort of like we got, I hope these are the busiest stations on the system, even though I think Jamaica is the busiest.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, Jamaica Plains was a major interchange.
Yeah, that would make sense to have it there. But, I mean, it's like a lot of the L stations have, you know, the newsstand with the cigarettes and candy and canned pop and stuff. So it makes sense.
Well, that's what they used to have.
Yeah, they're closing left and right. Okay, and Watco tests composite ties. Pittsburgh, Kansas. Watco announced its recent employee magazine, The Dispatch, that is conducting a series of tests on composite ties at several locations. Last week, the installation of 12,250 composite ties made from recycled plastic by the Port Authority in New York and New Jersey. The Watco report is below. The Watco has begun a pilot project with composite ties on 3 of its short lines, and the railroad believes this could have a profound impact on the company's sustainability efforts during the coming years. The Fox Valley and Lake Superior Rail System, FOXY for short, Louisiana Southern, LAS, and the Mississippi Southern, MRS, were selected to install about 1,000 composite railroad ties. These railroads selected because they operate in extreme weather conditions and on track that includes curbs, bridge approaches, joints, crossings, and switches, all within a small geographic footprint. The Watco team selected 3 composite tie vendors for the pilot, and each railroad will install the ties from multiple vendors. This will allow Watco to see how each company's product performs in a variety of environments and help decide which are the best for each track structure. Louisiana and Mississippi are high decay zones for wood ties. The water and heat make them rot especially fast, says Will Long, director of Rail Network Solutions. Then there's the cold in Wisconsin. We'll be able to see how all these 3 products perform in extreme environments and in a variety of applications. Note that the Foxy rail system bought a whole bunch of branch lines from Canadian Pacific, Canadian National, basically in the northern part of the state. They combined about 400 miles, but they're all disconnected branches. Some are out of service, so it's kind of like they bought a whole bunch. Composite ties offer several benefits. First, sustainability. Each tie contains about 180 pounds of recycled plastics. They're expected to last up to 50 years, which is 2 to 3 times longer than the average lifespan of traditional wood ties. If they perform well in areas where wood ties are prone to rot, that means safer, more stable track and fewer tie replacements for the maintenance away teams. When they do need to be replaced, the ties can be recycled again and go back to the railroad. They do cost a bit more up front, and I have more information on this afterwards. The Foxy was the first to complete the installation in early September. Roadmaster Rick Grant said it went well for their first experience with the new ties, but there are a couple of concerns. You have to pre-drill the holes for the spikes, which can be difficult since we have different sizes of rail. And there are special plugs you use in these holes when we repair the rail, which is different from the traditional wood plugs. But I've walked all locations since we installed the tie, and we've been running trains over them. Everything looks good, went well. I can't wait to see how they hold up in the Wisconsin winter. For the MRS and the LAS, expect to install their ties by the end of the year. Then all 3 railroads, maintenance away teams will monitor how the new ties perform compared to wood ties over the next year or so. This is just the beginning. Once we know how they perform and where they perform best, we'll decide when and where we want to move forward with the vendors. We're hoping that these ties hold up to the challenge of the environment. Each tie we install keeps plastic out of landfills and makes the railroad safer. So,
Okay, these composite ones are all plastic then?
no, I'm going to get to that. So, I went and looked up ties. And first problem is there's no uniform website that tells you everything. You got to bounce from site to site to site. Second problem was when I was trying to get the cost of these things, that was even worse. That took me even longer. I finally found some cost tables, and I think they're a little bit out of date, but I did find some cost numbers. So first of all, wooden ties. They're made of one of 3 types of wood: hardwood, oak, or pine. Treated, compressed. Their price ranges from $46 a tie to $150 per tie, depending. You got a hardwood tie, it's about $150, sometimes $200, depending on what you want done. Depends on what there's these tables that say this is what you got: creosote, you got this, you got that, all 50 chemicals they can mix into it. So that actually determines the price. Then there's the concrete ones made out of concrete with steel reinforcement, which is the current rage, but they're having problems with those. They're breaking in the middle, and they have to be replaced. They're actually deteriorating. There's steel ties. Did you know that? And the steel ties are actually made that they're flat, and at both ends, they looks like a shovel pointing downward. And once you put the tie in, that thing stabilizes and digs into the ground. And it's made of steel, 100% recyclable, lasts anywhere from 50 to 100 years. There's a lot of places using them now. And Hoosier Valley Railroad Museum's using it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got steel ties there coming out of one of their engine sheds, according to the internet anyway. Composite. This one's nice. It's fiberglass and plastic. That's why it's called composite. Mm-hmm. Okay? This might actually work because the plastic they're using, a type of polyurethane foam, mixed with fiberglass. Guess what we can get a whole source of fiberglass from? Old windmill blades. Right now they're just dumping them into big dumps out in New Mexico because they can't be recycled. Now they can. You can grind those up, mix it with the plastic, make railroad ties. There you go. Good solution. And finally, there's pure plastic, which is made of polyethylene. Mm-hmm. And again, they're kind of worried that they might be brittle in the winter because plastic gets brittle. So, costs. Well, the unit cost of the wood one on the average is $95. I gave the range before. Concrete ranges from $200 to $250 per tie. Plastic's $135 on the average per tie. Steel is $140 per tie. Now, that was from one website. Another website puts the wood ones at $95 on the average. Concrete between $200 and $250 per tie. Not sure why. There's a price difference there. Composites $135 per tie, and don't know what a stool one is, but it was $140. So, and then of course they give you the cost per mile. yes, they cost more, but they last longer, and they require less maintenance. I have what looks like a plastic 4x4 that I've had it for, I don't know, I guess about 30 years now, because I picked it up at the where the tuberculosis center used to be on Pulaski. It's now a recycling center, and they had the stuff stacked. I took a piece home to try it out to see what. Still good after 30 years. I use it to block something at the gate, and it's still in good shape. So bought it about pre-drilling to put the spikes in. But another company, there's like 12 or 14 companies doing this right now. So it's going to be, it's a ballooning market. A bunch of startups. There's warnings all over the place. Make sure the company's going to be there 6 months from now if you need new ties or something. But the pre-drill is because you can't nail into them. They're too thick. They're too dense. So they pre-drill, but they're also talking about now using the bolt, the screws for fasteners instead of putting the spikes in. Now, the screws cost more than the spikes, of course. But again, you put it in. Those things are easy to tighten real quick. And the stuff lasts for 3 to 5 times longer than wood. It's worthwhile the investment. Now, Union Pacific has got, according to UP, it's got like 6 or 8 test sites where they've done this. They got some test tracks set up where they're pounding the heck out of it with composite and plastic. Steel's out there. I mentioned Hoosier Valley Museum's got it. So there's all kinds of stuff. They've got to get away from wood. Now, one article on Trains Magazine pointed out that in Mexico, it is concrete ties. There's no wood in Mexico, basically. There's a little shortage of wood, so it's expensive, so they went to concrete ties. And you can see that when you go to Google Maps. You can see there's a lot of lines being redone with concrete ties. So, it's going to come. I know there's purists out there, you got to have wood. Yeah, trees are costing money these days. Price of wood's going up. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And again, I gave you the price range. Hardwood, oak, and treated pine. And the price varies. That range of price from
because of the density
and the what materials like creosote and tar and half a dozen. There was chemicals I never even heard of being
put in it.
Put in to preserve them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing there. That
has a lot of numbers to the cost.
Yeah. The one guy from I think it was like Envirodyne or something like that. It was the name. It was started with an E. He was talking about it was in Progressive Rail. He was talking about how this is a startup market. This is a huge market. They're hoping to get their foot in there. They said it's a low-tech business. That's why nobody's paying attention to them. Got to go look for their stock. So, what do you got there about the steam engine?
Steam engine. Okay, back to the steam engine. Bosnia. This is supposedly the last gasp for working steam in the world. I don't know. We'll probably see another story back up. But Bosnia is finally cutting back on its steam operations. Now, China was the last big one to go.
Now, is that coal-fired?
Yep.
And it's their coal that they're digging out, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's why it lasted that long.
Yeah, well, the thing is, ours lasted too, but everybody became so enamored with the diesel.
Yeah.
Ours, I mean, Norfolk and Western was ready to keep the locomotives going past 1960. They were efficient, and they were forced to take the J's off of passenger service because they didn't want steam and coal going down the side of the nice stainless steel cars.
Oh, jeez. So go ahead with the Bosnia article there. What's the story?
Yeah, it's following the end of steam operations at the Sandling mine in China last autumn, The honor of the last place in the world where multiple steam locomotives are operated in service each day has fallen to Tuzla, the third largest city in Bosnia-Herzegovina. The area northeast of the Balkan country is a number of open cast coal mines that generate rail traffic to coal-fired power stations. Mines produce lignite, which is a brown coal, which is principally burnt at the Kreka power station just south of Tuzla. But other power stations also supplied some in neighboring Serbia. Open cast mines and locomotives being owned until 2015 standard gauge colliery steam locomotives would routinely haul the trains from the main line to the station to Lukavec. And similarly from the Brave, now they are confined to the colliery railway structure at the Federation of Bosnia-Herzegovina. Diesels are bringing trains to the mines exchange sidings now. At Banovici, some 20 kilometers south of Tuzla, I'll eventually get it right.
Yeah.
The situation is different and quite unique. Narrow gauge BOBO diesels haul coal trains down the branch through wooded valleys from mines to the loading to coal washing complex at Oskova. The wagons are then shunted by steam to part of the journey and discharge the washery area after coal is transferred to standard gauge trains on onward movements. Oskova is also the honor of being the last place in the world hosting an 060 USA tank locomotive.
Ah, great.
Although it is one of the copies manufactured by Slavonicsky Brod. These days it is spare to the standard gauge six-wheel diesel and will be used when the diesel has failed or is being serviced. Who says Steve can't take it?
Hey, it works, it works.
Yep. Standard gauge G16 Kennedy CO diesel locomotives built by GM between 62 and 72 operate most trains on the national network, including mainline coal trains to and from the Kreka power station, formed of air brake, long wheelbase, four-wheel, or bogie boxcars. The diesels also operate other rail freight in the area, such as coal products to and from the Lukavec Coke Works behind the Lukavec station and yard, wagon loads of four-wheel and bogie box vans, chemicals traffic from tank wagons, cement, soda traffic also operate around Lukavec. And I don't think that's drinking soda. At each coal mine location, the Kennedy locomotives arrive with rakes of empty cars, then leave prepared loaded trains, and colliery locomotives do. Shunting, reminiscent of those in South Wales and northeast England, in the 70s and 80s. Abet Ski Yulji and Dubrave, it is not an 060 tank officiating, but the Bosnia equivalent of a 9F, which is a 410 or a 210. The last one being the Evening Star.
So it's not a Thomas the Tank engine they're using.
Nope. And no passenger services are in the area.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But it's still going. They're still running. They haven't have a finish date. It will be notified.
Well, they got plenty of fuel, that's for sure.
Yep. And diesels, traction reigns supreme in South America, Brazil.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, now over 70 years old and still in service, Alco RS3, number 6005, remains in use with the Sao Paulo commuter operator, CPTM, but only normally for work trains. The locomotives are used for the popular weekend CPTM Expresso Turisto excursions to Jundiaí and Paranapiacaba. It is seen at Junda with one of these trains on March 9th, and the loco is one of 46 that was bought in 1952. Built in Montreal Locomotive Works in Canada, and powered by a 1,600 horsepower 244 V12 engine. Alco. And
They seem to last a little bit.
yeah, they do. And they're used, and there's no end to them. WAPCO made a few diesels that are running for the last 15 years.
It's interesting because Brazil has a huge locomotive assembly plant down there. They make their own.
They have a GE plant down there.
Yeah.
Now owned by WebTech. Plus, they had a WebTech at the time and built a lot of their locomotives. So, and now that they own GE, so they took over that plant. And between the EMDs, the GEs, and occasional WebTech, they're doing pretty good. And running on what? A 5-foot gauge.
Multiple gauges out there.
Yeah, 5-foot gauge. You got the
Meter
standard gauge.
They got meter gauge.
Meter gauge, standard gauge. And they also, the meter gauge, yeah, I mean, they make some interesting locomotives then. They took an SD45, and I remember seeing the picture of it, and it was for the meter gauge, and they put a 4-axle truck on under each end, and we're using that to do the mines.
Hey, it worked.
And they're still working down there.
Yeah, because their one local they got down there is like MRS, which is you see this big logo says MRS on it.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of freight cars and stuff. But yeah, Brazil is totally underbuilt for railroads. One guy called them tap lines. because they said they were built mainly to tap some kind of resource, and that's why they're disconnected all different gauges and stuff.
Yeah.
That's too bad, It's,
Yeah. Which manufacturer is going to give me a good deal today?
Well, they also bought a lot of used locomotives. They got a lot of PA1s on there and so on like that.
Oh, they even Baldwins.
Yep.
They got a nice
So when there was
a short-nosed shark.
yeah. Well, when there was a fire sale here, they picked up real quick.
Yeah, they picked up, and the short-nosed shark, that was the last one that came out of the Baldwin shops, and they were the only ones that bought them.
Hey, works.
And they're still running.
Yep. This shows they got a good maintenance crew.
Yeah. So that's the world today. A little steam, a little diesel.
Little diesel, little that.
Mm.
So you're doing Operation Lifesaver again, huh?
Yeah,
Pretty soon?
Well, we just finished last week. We had basically the theme was,
Don't get hit by a train.
see tracks, think trains. And they were using that full signal. But it was the whole week of, it was, Rail Safety Week. Started on Saturday and then ended started on Sunday and ended on Saturday. I had tables set up the whole week at the Chicago Botanic Garden. Had a lot. And we had some good families coming through, telling people how they can stop a train with their cell phone by reading the little blue card that's hanging up.
A little blue sign on the thing.
Yeah, and that little 4x6 sign. And I had the big version to show them what is on it. And then you tell the people, oh, hey, can I take a picture of this way? I said, no. This phone number you do not use. Use the phone number on the crossing. And don't memorize it, because not all railroads are the same.
Yeah, they a lot of people don't know that, or they don't care. So
well, yeah. But the thing is, once they understood, they're going, "Oh, this is simple." You see, and you tell them, don't even bother with 911.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to do anything.
911 will take it a lot longer to get anything done at a railroad crossing. And whereas if you call this number, you'll talk to the dispatcher of this line.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting with a bunch of others, so he can make a good story out of it. But he'll help you, and he's the one that's going to stop the train if they can. They're going to be the one to get you, get any emergency personnel that you need there.
Yep.
They'll call the police. They'll automatically call the police,
actually. I know it works. A bunch of us were down at Griffin, and there's a little road that runs on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there and watch a container train come by, and just about every other container was open. The side doors were open.
Ooh.
So buddy runs down to the crossing, grabs the emergency crossing number, calls it, because it was CSX, and talked to the dispatcher, and they said thanks, they'll get it over when it hit our yard. Then later on, we were further down the main line, saw the same train come by, all of them were shut.
No kidding.
No kidding. So now I'm like thinking, why didn't anything fall out? I could use some new merchandise, but nothing fell out. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, not too loud. But yeah, somebody was apparently opening them up and checking everything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't all. The phone numbers are there not only for the emergency crossings, but if you see something on the train, if you see somebody running across the roof or hanging out of a freight car waving at you, call it in.
It's like 911 was on last night on Fox, and they had a train and it derailed, and sulfur cloud and everything. But there was a kid that was on the train.
Of course, it's in the script.
Yeah. He got down there and he got caught underneath the cars.
Ooh.
Inside.
Speaking of which, our two wonderful senators, Duckworth and Dopey Durbin, are trying to pass a bill to ban certain railroad cars from entering the Chicago area, citing what happened in Palestine, Ohio.
I know, and
that TV show's probably, they watched that thinking that was fact. Anyway, first of all, when it was going through Palestine, it wasn't going at 1 mile an hour. It was going, I think, about 30 or 40 at the time.
Yep.
And here, you're lucky to see them. You're lucky in the core area inside the city limits to see a freight train hit 40, more like 10, 20. They just crawl through, especially on the south side. North side, they run a little faster. Because after our meeting last month, I got off the train, I see a headlight in the distance, so, okay, I'll wait at the Morton station. It's lit just right for night photography. Sure enough, here comes the Wisconsin Southern train heading north, right after the metro train.
Mm.
And he's not going that fast. He's going maybe 20, 25, because he's following a metro train.
Yeah.
So he can just go fast enough. And he can't go too fast because he'll catch up with the train and hit a red light. So he's just one steady, slow speed, much to the frustration of the drivers. But hey,
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, I was on Devon when that happened. I was going forget where I was going, but saw the gates go down. Okay, now about 6 blocks away because I can still see you can see the overhead. Gates go up and immediately come back down again. And a whole bunch of people behind me, beep, 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 without realizing the gates went back down because another train came by. Because you can't see from that far back.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, okay, guys, it's another train. But again, that goes back to, I'm in a hurry, get out of my way.
Yeah, see, that's...
Oh, a train could stop on a dime. No, it can't. It needs a quarter.
No, I believe it's you need a whole dollar.
Well, I tell people, how long do you think it takes one of our typical freight trains to stop? It takes them 1.5 miles when he hits the emergency because he just slides down that track until gravity and friction says, okay, you could stop. And that's 1.5 miles. And the faster they go, the longer it takes to stop. And I go, it's, you may be able to, what is it, 1 car length per 10 miles for a car to stop? On a train, it's a little longer. They just can't stop on a...
And we got steel wheels on steel rails.
Yep. Not rubber. Well, I tell them, a lot of times the engineers, a lot of them, like that guy that writes on the hot times on the high iron, they don't even bother slowing down. They have their hand on the brake, but, they're not going to hit the emergencies unless they absolutely have to. That's what a lot of them said. You probably had the same thing. You got a guy cut in front of you. What are you going to do? Hit the emergency or just keep going and hope you miss him?
We're gonna go to emergency, but
then comes the paperwork.
Yep.
Here, pee in this cup, will you? I got to take a blood sample. Oh, we need a hair sample. Bend over. We need another sample.
But it was surprising. People actually asked questions.
That was good.
It gets better every year.
That's good.
Yeah, because before people just,
right,
couldn't be bothered. And then all of a sudden.
Well, they probably know somebody or heard somebody in their area had an entanglement with a train.
Mm-hmm.
Or had a close call. They don't have to have an entanglement. You can have a close call.
Heck, I even have people telling me what's going on. I'm going, okay. Is that really?
No, I got a couple of videos of train accidents and stuff. And
Well, so do I.
so it's, hey, you want to see
Yeah.
something cool?
I mean,
The best one my students liked, though, was when the Indian guy got on top of the train and put his hand on the live wire.
oh, jeez.
And all you see him, he's standing there, he falls over, the hair's on fire. And so I told the students, you want to see it again? All the hands go back up.
Well,
Weirdos.
what got me was, I'm still, the lawyer, he sucked up, but there were kids playing on top of boxcars in Lancaster Station. Electrified line.
Oh, okay.
Patsy's electrified line all the way to Harrisburg.
Yep.
And they were playing on top of the boxcars.
And one of them grabbed the wire, I bet.
No, they both did.
Oh. Yeah, that'll do it. Well, they get the Darwin Award. Voluntarily removed themselves from the gene pool.
Yep. And the parents went and sued Amtrak. And the judge decided, yeah, it was Amtrak's fault. Didn't have enough safeguards up.
That's ignorance of the justice system.
They had strips on the ladder. So they couldn't. Well, the spaces were too wide. They could walk up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you get immediately a Weasley lawyer and a crooked judge. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I bet you the two of them went to school together.
Well, usually the Amish country, you figure, at least you have some more honesty.
Well, you would think.
Yeah.
But when it comes to some accidents, people just see dollar signs.
Well, that's it.
I lost a kid. That kid was worth $3 million.
Well, there was a kid, they had something similar to that up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They were doing their snowmobiles in the middle of the tracks.
Yeah, we'll hear the train coming. Don't worry.
Oh, they didn't even think any trains were running
Ah.
on that track. The track was abandoned. And I'm going, yeah, right. Every day a freight goes up here. Anyway.
Well, you saw that on Railroad Alaska. The guys were constantly chasing the snowmobilers off the tracks.
Yeah.
So it's all over like that. Anyway, let's talk about Christmas and model railroads.
Oh, we can do Christmas. But I was going to also talk about if you want to see something good.
All right.
The Groman Museum. I don't know how many people know about it. It is a museum dedicated to men at work and women, men and women at work. And it's part of the Milwaukee School of Engineering. And Groman donated he and his wife traveled the world and looked for artwork for all industry. Even Vulcan's workshop.
Woo.
And sculpt. And they got beautiful brass sculpture and stuff. And they bought a set of an individual person working fishing, one being a coal miner,
Mm-hmm.
one being a railroad worker. And they stood about, the statue stand this high.
So
brass
about a half a meter. Huh?
rods. Yeah. And then they made them 7 feet tall. They had a guy in the Philippines made up the molds and everything, and
Cool.
7 feet tall, and so they're on the roof when you look.
Really? I'll have to go back and check that.
Yeah, it's I know it's 1000 Broadway is where it's located, and from now until December 22nd, they are the display they have is Gil Reed and Friends working on the railroad. If you're not familiar with the name Gil Reed, he has produced a lot of paintings for Trains magazine.
He's got a brother too, doesn't he?
I thought he did, yeah.
Yeah, the Reed brothers, because they did a wonderful N-scale Burlington Northern layout.
And then he's out there with his friends, and I got a wonderful picture of the President Eisenhower, British locomotive, basically a cousin, a sister to the Mallard. And I've got one of his copies. All signed. I wanted at a silent auction. But I also got some other. He worked for several of the manufacturers and did paintings of diesels in certain paint schemes for people who were buying them.
Great.
Because one picture I got, and I got to get it framed, is with the first PA built. And what color were they painting it? Red, white, and blue. It pulled the 1947, 1948 Freedom Train.
That's cool.
So got that, and I said, got to get this one.
So that's the 1000 Broadway, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Is that on the hop?
Huh?
Is that on the hop line? Streetcar line?
No.
No? Okay.
No, that kind of pissed me off, too. But I understand, if our interurban shows up one day.
You could ask them why.
Yeah. And I miss talking with Ron. He has some good stuff. But, here's one of his pictures.
He's been in and out of Railroader and Trains magazine a lot.
Oh, yeah. A lot of pictures are in there. Usually they're watercolor. I mean, nice C&W picture here.
Oh, yeah, so it is. Yep. Those look like GE units.
Nope, they're EMD.
Really?
Well, one's
SD45?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at that. The 3 wheels. I see it now. There's some in the background, too. So where has he got this at? Well, it says Butler 400, so good guesses. Butler in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Butler
Yard. That's good.
That's a nice. It's a good. It looks a good. That's a nice.
Yeah. My wife says we're going to keep going. She keeps telling me we're going up. And she had one day set aside. She wanted to go on the 19th. That's when they were having a talk on there with a couple guys. And son of a gun, she didn't want to get off the couch. Finally told her about it, I think 8 o'clock at night.
Well, I was supposed to go rail fanning a couple of weeks ago. Couldn't. I had something else going on. Kind of irritating. But, family gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can't do much about that. So with Christmas coming up, people are going to probably buy trains, we hope.
We hope they buy trains.
So let's do...
And don't forget about riding them.
Yes. Go out to the museums, Fox Valley, IRM,
Heston Steam
East Troy.
Museum. You go to the Heston Steam Museum, you'll get to ride behind a nice steam locomotive. Have some cookies, have some hot chocolate.
Then go south to North Judson and...
Oh, yeah, and then ride the only standard gauge Forney in existence.
And then swing back in Illinois, pick up the Fox Valley.
Fox Valley, and then IRM.
The Illinois Railway Museum, and head north to East Troy, which was featured on WGN a week ago.
Oh, really?
Yep. There was places to visit. They spent about 7 minutes on it.
No kidding.
Got some of their facts a little convoluted. They were showing a Reading Railroad MU car and calling it a CTA car. It's red and white. Guys, it's not a CTA car. They showed the interior of a 4000, but not the exterior. They got a little mixed up there. But, I'll look the other way because it's promoting the museum. That's all I'm going to... They can go up later and fight with the people saying, that's CTA. No, it ain't. Yeah, it is. Well, it's WGM. Well, that's their fault. Let them fight.
Yeah, there you go.
It's publicity. It's good publicity.
It is. We've got, the Heston Steam Museum. And by the way, if you want to see Santa, you'll have to go in his caboose. Yep.
And then about around December 1st, the CTA will be running their Christmas trains and buses.
Oh, and there's one movie Hallmark made, and it really shows a lot of pictures of the Christmas train.
Oh, the CTA one?
Yep.
Really? I'll have to look for that one. My wife watches that channel. I'll ask her to look for
it. It's the 12 Dates of Christmas, they call it.
Oh, okay.
Doing a game card for one of the hotels in town. But I kind of enjoy it, and I'm sitting there and looking and seeing all the streetcars doing it, and they're catching them just right, going across the bridges.
River? Oh, okay, yeah.
Crossing the river and getting it at some different angles.
And then you could ride the Metro Christmas trains.
Oh, yes.
I managed to get on one by accident. I didn't even know it was running that day. I get on the train and I look and it's all decorated. So I went through every car and took pictures.
That's good.
I was like, so I talked to the conductor. He goes, and they weren't collecting fares for that train. Anybody can get on and off, which was nice. I bought my ticket. And don't you want this? He goes, no. It's like, okay, I'm easy.
But yeah, it's coming to that time of year.
So we got the Christmas
also,
trains.
And at the beginning of November, Train Fest is coming back.
Yep, Train Fest in Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
Gotta
get the right place there.
At the convention center, the one that begins with the B.
Yeah, whatever. It's at the convention center.
Yeah, it's at there are two convention centers.
Well, they could ask the one with the trains.
And yes, they're doing that. They're not doing it at the fairgrounds. And
I'm still contemplating where I'm going or not yet. So
yeah, I'm
no, a heck of a drive up there no matter what I do.
I have to set up the layout. And all.
Last time I went to Milwaukee last month, I actually took the Amtrak train from Glenview.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, what I did was I walked over to Grayland, took the Metro train to Glenview, got off, waited for the Amtrak train, got on, and went to Milwaukee. Nice ride, by the way. That Hiawatha service to Milwaukee, nice ride.
Oh, I understand it is.
And
a lot of people have no.
They're rebuilding the station to the airport in Milwaukee.
Ah.
when we went through, it was all under construction when I went through there last month. And a nice station in Milwaukee. Nice station, relative term, but I thought it was nice. It was clean, which is nice. Nice. It was nice. Nice selection of shops on the main floor. Walked across the street, met my buddy. He was there, and then we went rail fanning around the city and stuff. We went to ride the streetcars, basically. That was the whole point of it. Of course, we talked to those guys, and those employees are really enthusiastic about that streetcar system. You talk to them, they're like, they're happy, proud, and
yeah,
very enthusiastic about the system. Matter of fact, we had gotten off at the end of the line because we were held up by a garbage truck, of all things. We go off the end of the line. She comes running out of the cab. Guys, I'm leaving in about 2 minutes if you want to go back. Nice. You think a CTA guy would do that? Nope. They would just drive away or leave. They came out and reminded us because they realized what we were doing. They called us back in. It was very nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was, and then we talked to the guys. The first time we were up there a year ago, we talked to the guys over about a shop, and they were explaining a bunch of stuff and what they were doing, and and how the electronics work and stuff. And so it was a nice.
They'll be nice. Yeah.
Very nice people. Very nice ride. So it's kind of fun. What's up? Are we ready to cut it?
Yeah, we're getting close to.
Well, let's go real quick through the trains, model trains. Guys, when you buy your Christmas trains, there's different sizes. And there's different companies, different prices. The largest one is G scale. That runs between 1/24th to 1/29th size ratio. That's the Garden Railways. You can also have them in your house, but they're huge. Next one down is O scale, 1/48th, 1/48, or 1/48 scale. That's why it's called O scale. And there's two varieties. There's 2-rail and 3-rail. Lionel makes the 3-rail. Menards, I think it's 2 and 3, depending on what you buy. Not really sure. 3? Okay. And there's some 2-rail makers. It runs from the low end, which is toy-like, up to the mid-end. I don't want to say high-end because there's no high-end, which are nice models. Next one down is S scale, if you could find it. That's 1/64th. That fits a lot of the model car type stuff. So if you want mixed model cars with trains, S scale is the way to go. It's a limited supply. Usually you can get that at hobby shop or train shows. Next one down, the most popular is HO, 1/87 or 1/87th scale, or what they call 3.5 millimeters to the foot. And you can get anything in that scale. You want streetcars, L cars, old-time trains, modern trains, trains that don't exist, HO's the way to go. And it's all 2-rail. And next one down is TT scale. Now, I thought that was 1/100, but the guy who corrected me and said it was 1/120, so I'm not sure. It's 120? Okay. So TT scale is 1/120. And limited supply. There is trains out there. Again, it's a very specialized niche area. The next most popular is N scale. That's 1/160. If you're running out of room, if you don't have room, you start looking at N scale. Because on a 3x5 table or a 1 foot by 6 foot long shelf, you could have a pretty decent layout. It's not the amount of equipment available is not as prevalent as it is in HO, but it's getting there. They just made an announcement there's more gallery cars coming out. Scale Trains, Kato, and a couple other guys are all coming out with different variations of the gallery cars.
Yeah, I saw
different paint schemes and everything.
Broadway.
Yeah.
Broadway Limited. They came out in N scale with Reading T1s.
Yep. So stuff is coming out there. The next one down from that, if you really got press for space, it's called Z scale, and that's 1/220. And it's starting to get. There's enough American equipment now that you could actually have a decent layout.
I got a beautiful GG1.
And finally, there's the newest one, 450. Good old T scale. you really don't have any space, you could have a decent layout in a space of 2x3. Actually, 1x3. And here's the kicker. The engines are magnetized to the track. You could have the layout upside down. You could put it on the ceiling and run it. Now, the cars are not magnetic, so only the engines. So you could put the engine and the track upside down on your ceiling and run it. But when you get down to Z and TT scale, and for most part limited on N scale, if you like running long trains, those are your scale. If you like to do switching, you could do it in N scale, but it's somewhat difficult. It can be done, but it's difficult. HO is the way to go. And so is O scale at that point. If you have eyesight problems, O scale, G scale, HO. Don't even go any smaller. And when you buy the sets range from, I'm not going to name the companies because it's not fair, but depending on where you buy the sets, you buy them at the big box stores, you're getting the toy-like version of the stuff. If you go to a hobby shop or a hobby shop online, you get the more quality stuff. And the prices do range all over the place. So that's the wrap-up for Christmas. There are Christmas sets out there. There's people asking already for them. So it's so what you got there? What's new?
Well, I'm sitting here looking at this nice picture. A new manufacturer, Menards.
Oh, yeah, Menards. Look at that. Nice Northwestern units.
The thing is, if you look, you can see some changes to the F unit.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, they had their own people working on it. I mean, like the rotors are back.
Sure.
And such. But that's okay.
Well, I would, the models come in three versions. You got the low quality, which is the El Cheapos. You got the mid quality, which is what you're getting from Menards. And then you get the fine quality, which is going to cost you a chunk of money. And again, if you like trains, the quality is not an issue. If you like running the things, quality is an issue. So it's because I got, over the years when we've gone to like flea markets and garage sales and stuff, I picked up a lot of toy trains. Toys, real toys. Plastic things and stuff that's no longer made. And I got like about 2 bins worth now. And I'm hoping to put up a shelf and have these all displayed. That's kind of nice. I mean, I got stuff like salt shakers, 2 streetcars, 1 for salt and pepper, the steam engine that tenders the pepper, 2 diesels, that kind of stuff. I picked up those kind of train trinkets.
Yeah,
well, you get them for $10 or a quarter. Why not?
Yeah,
it's a train.
That's the way to do it.
Okay, so I think we're about wrapping this up now, huh?
I believe we're wrapping it up. We're going to be heading into the station. Thank you again for joining us.
And remember, Snowpiercer.
Yeah, they're going to still keep it.
Hey, did you show that movie Snakes on the Train to everybody?
Oh, yeah. They had me, I had the movie picked. I was going to show for some reason I got voted down again. So I wasn't getting Silver Streak.
Oh, darn.
That's okay. We're all doing Young Frankenstein. I mean, it's a good one.
Yep, that's okay.
But I really wanted to do Silver Streak. Believe it or not, there were a lot of people in the club that wanted several train movies. Okay. Well, we have a tribute to that one, too, in Young Frankenstein. Yeah, track on now. By the way, do you want to chat?
You have been listening to Chicago Junction from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Wednesday, October the 9th, the year 2024. Chicago Junction was produced and directed by John DeVito, and our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Wednesday, October the 9th, the year 2024. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.